So we're called to order. We're moving into the 100s for cyclical review right now. The first
Right.
one is policy 100, comprehensive planning. There are no updates. This is just a requirement by PDE that everybody does comprehensive planning. We're on 3-year rotations for that from the state level. And we recently, the board recently approved our comprehensive plans. And following tonight's meeting, when we have the minutes of the approval, we'll do our final submission to PDE. But as far as the policy goes, there are no updates from PSBA, so we believe we should move this forward to the full board for review.
Any questions? Seeing none, let's move it ahead. Policy number 101.
Policy 101 is the mission statement, vision statements, and beliefs. And this policy has not been updated for quite some time. And since it was previously updated, we've done 2 comprehensive planning cycles. So I already updated the missions, vision, and belief statements to be aligned with what we did in our comprehensive planning with our stakeholder groups and our vested partners. And so both of those were board approved at another time. So basically, this is updated with current information.
Okay, Tracy, I got a favor to ask.
Okay.
Being in computer kindergarten like I am, is there any way I can share this screen with the agenda so I not flying blind?
Patty's going to put that up, Wayne.
You might have to give me permission.
Well, I thought I'd share it. I'd share this Zoom meeting. I just would like to view the agenda somewhere on my screen so I know where we are on the agenda. Otherwise, I'm just flying blind now. That's the best answer I can give you.
Patty's working on getting it up. We don't have very many up, only 5 items.
Okay, well then, you just have to give it to me verbally then.
We can do that.
I was gonna say Chip, right? Yep, right there.
So we did 100, we did 101. And
Okay,
There's
said 101 on. Oh, there we are, okay.
so it looks like we can move both of those. 100 for review. 101 for move for approval.
Policy number 102, academic standards.
There are no changes or no updates from PSBA, so this would be a review only as part of the cyclical review.
Any questions? Seeing none, let's move it on. Policy 104.
There are some updates on this one. Non-discrimination, discriminatory harassment, and employment practices. I need to pull that up to remember what the changes were. Looks like Tracy Smith's going to try to log in too. She just sent a text.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are.
Hello, Tracy Smith.
Hi, Wayne. Sorry for being late.
Hey, I had totally forgot about this meeting, so Tracy Long called me and woke me up.
I might have needed her to remind me too.
I think the only updates that I'm seeing on this one, what we had to do with adding defining harassment, sexual harassment, so the definitions are there. And then if there are non-discriminatory practices, it says the board designates the assistant superintendent as the district's compliance officer. But if you want to, we can just change that to superintendent or designee.
Okay, is that okay with you, Dr. Martin?
I think it's wise.
Okay. So let's do it. We'll change from assistant principal to assistant superintendent to superintendent or designee.
That would be the compliance officer piece. Then it just talks about the things that the investigation shall ensure that the individual assigned to investigate the complaint has an appropriate understanding of the relevant laws pertaining to discrimination issues, may suggest additional witnesses and provide evidence. It just gives the process. Christine, if I'm correct, this follows the Title IX investigatory process and the updates to Title IX. So it's been sitting in the queue since 2018 as a revision.
Okay. Anything else to add?
I think we can move it forward.
Okay, any questions? Comments? Seeing none, let's move it forward.
Okay. So the next one is naming rights. I was hoping to be able to come with you with a draft this morning, but I don't have it ready yet. I did have some questions for the policy committee. If you recall, Elizabeth gave us a draft of, and it's really a bunch of policies like mushed together. So Joni and I kind of went through and tried to pick out the different pieces. One of the questions for the group has to do with a naming rights advisory committee. So it basically, one of the samples says that nominations for the naming rights of the facility area shall come to the board by recommendation of the naming rights advisory committee. And then the board advisory committee consisting of the superintendent or superintendent's designee, business manager, and no more than 3 school board representatives. We had talked about adding the principal to that, the principal or whatever building or, other administrators could be appointed to that. But I'm not sure why community members wouldn't be also on the naming rights advisory committee.
Okay,
So I'm not sure what your thought is. If we have somebody who comes forward with a naming rights request, would we form a committee at that time rather than having a standing committee?
which
Yeah, I
would
think-
be, which would be the least cumbersome? Having a standing committee or forming a committee each time we get a request?
Well, I don't think naming, I don't think that we're going to, I mean, we've had one request since I've been here, maybe 2, 1 for the Bucktail Gymnasium or court, Hannah Court. It doesn't happen that frequently. But
Mhm.
so I
I-
feel like you could, if you have a standing committee and it's something for, let's say Liberty Curtain, for example, would your standing committee of folks from Bucktail, I don't know, like regionally, I feel like you want local community folks on those committees.
Okay, so would the people that would be involved in naming would be depending on where the request is coming from?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think if we do it as we go, as requests come in and form a committee of relevant people at that point, that would be probably a better use of
That's
time and resources.
That
Should
seems
the-
to be the direction we're going in, yeah.
should the board president appoint the committee?
I guess because they appoint all the other committees too.
And then keep it the limit to 3. But it should say shall include the superintendent, the principal, or any other relevant administrators or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
For example, I've got an idea of a name. What if we, the football stadium's called the Malinak, I guess it would be the Malinak Memorial Stadium now. How about the field being named for called the Walter Deal Memorial Field? Now, what process would we go through? This is just a hypothetical situation, not proposing it. What,
Well, we would, currently, without this policy, we would have followed. It was donations and they typed up a request, they gave it to me, I shared it with the full board. asked them who was gonna pay for the plaque. And they had the money for the plaque, and then we accepted their donation of the plaque and did a formal ceremony of dedication. But with this, now here's the thing, like, and this was what we discussed before. So I mean, I've had the pleasure of knowing Walt Deal as well. But let's say that there would be someone who may have been revered as a hero, and then later in their life, we found out that they maybe were guilty of several crimes or convicted of several crimes. The naming rights thing could vet some of that stuff out, or the policy gives the right of the district to remove that name off of whatever the dedication was. So it's not a forever ever dedication.
Okay,
So I do think it's a good idea to have this policy. It's just, it's not required by PSBA, but I think it is a good idea. And the one policy too, my other question for you was, the one had two different divisions of this, but it really got convoluted, and I thought it was difficult to follow, and so did Joni. So we just thought one committee could do all. This was the Great Valley one. They had district-owned buildings and properties, what it defines facilities, but naming rights and consideration, that would be recognition for financial contributions, sponsorship, or other commercial transaction. And then the naming rights and recognition would be recognition of a significant contribution to the Keystone Central School District that you wish to honor someone. So one was more financial and one was more financial and commercial, and the other one was just someone such as the Hannah Beck donation. But from our perspective, when we were looking through this, the process would be the same, regardless of whether somebody was paying for it or whether there was no money donated. We feel like it's all the same committee,
okay.
but I don't know what you think. It got a little convoluted.
Sounds
Sound-
reasonable to me. What do you think, Tracy Smith?
Yeah, I think just one committee can handle either of those. That's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
anybody else have input to that? Seeing none, do we move this on then?
Okay, well, it's not ready to go forward. I'm gonna have to pull those pieces together into one single draft, because right now it's 13 pages of, the current draft looks like 13 pages of samples from two or three other districts. So I'll finalize the draft with Joni for next month.
Okay, so we'll table it till the next meeting. How about it, Tracy?
That sounds good.
Okay,
That was all we had for you today.
anything on PSBA revisions?
The only one, actually, that number 4 that we already did, 104, should have been under that section of the agenda, but
Okay, well then, is there anything else to do?
I don't think so. But since we just had two of you here, or I guess we could talk about it tomorrow. Wayne, are you going to be on the meeting tomorrow when you give the committee report? Just let them know that we have 4 to move forward and we're still working on naming rights.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
All right, well, if there's nothing else, I guess we can adjourn then.
All right.
And you don't have to be tortured looking at my ugly face.
Oh, it's actually good to see you and hear you. You sound good.
I
see your-
sound good, are you sure?
Yeah.
Yep.
If only I could